Let's continue to talk about the mess that is the Labor Party in New South Wales. Anthony Albanese has been found. The search party, the SES, was able to find him and actually get a comment out of the man who had to say something about Sussex Street. After all, it, helped install him as Labor leader.
The party's in a diabolical situation. This behaviour is completely unacceptable to me, and I find it quite shocking, the revelations.
As for Tanya Plibersek, this is what she's had to say.
Yeah, well, it's completely unacceptable behaviour. It's absolutely clear that, at the very least, every person, every political party should be obeying the law. We're, very early days in the ICAC hearing, so we need to see what emerges over the next few weeks. But there is a very strong case for culture change in an environment where you see that sort of response to very large political donations.
OK. Remember, that was week 1 of 6. 1 of 6. So it's only going to get worse from here. So, Christy, here's the difficulty if you are a Labor person, right? Now, well, as much fun as I would have to beat up on them for the next 5 minutes or so, let's actually try and give them some free advice, of which they will completely ignore. You don't know what's coming in the next 5 weeks, or you can take a punt on based off the interaction you've had with the Corruption Commission over the many months leading up to the 5 weeks. You can work out where this is going to go. So, if you're the Labor Party, what do? My advice to Albo is you clean house and you clean house now. You effectively flush out anyone in above a certain level inside that secretariat. You try to install your people so you fully own the clean-up process, but you're able to then to point to that clean-up process when a series of things are going to keep coming through. Because, to me, it ain't the building, it's the people who have security passes and parking in the building that are the problem.
You don't know what's coming in this, and you'd rather know than not know. And so I'm sure Labor internally is trying to know as much as they can so they can foresee the future for the next 4 to 5 months. But I love that Labor, straight out of the gate today, has turned this into a problem of the political diaspora. It's not a problem about Labor. It's a problem about politics in this country and how it's managed. No, this is a problem about Labor.
Correct.
And Labor taking $100,000 in a bag. And in terms of your point, Paul, about Labor making sure they know everything about this and cleaning up their own house, well, the guy who was Kayla Monane's boss, Jamie Clements, who took that $100,000 worth of cash in the Aldi bag and saw it, was in his office, they already had an inquiry into this guy in 2016. That's how Kayla Monane got her job. They had an inquiry into this guy of his dealings in the office about sexual harassment. At no point in that internal inquiry, talking to all those staff down there at Sussex Street, did anyone say, oh, and by the way, there was $100,000 cash in an Audi bag sitting on his desk and we all saw it.
Well, I mean, you're right. We're those that say, oh, it's a problem with the entire donation system. That's like saying everyone should lose their accelerator because I got caught speeding. No, when you get caught contravening the laws that are clear about donations, as Liberal people have been in the past, and by that I don't mean charges, I mean in the Corruption Commission, well, then those people end up, as most of them were, they end up getting either booted from the party or eventually get cycled out of the parliament. Let's give some free advice to Labor about how to fix it.
Well, Paul, firstly, this is not just illegal conduct. This is not just taking money from property developers. This money has come from agents of the Chinese Communist government, and we have seen the Labor Party, through Sam Dastyari's actions, being compromised by cash that they've got from the Chinese Communists. Now, we've seen the photographs or the images of what's happening up at Hong Kong at the moment. These are the people behind giving cash to the Labor Party. This is a lot more serious to national sovereignty and national security than just $100,000 worth of cash in a paper bag.
Sure, but I got a ding when we're talking about China. I got a ding. Former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull, former Foreign Minister Julie Bishop, they wanted an extradition treaty for Chinese people here to go back to China, the very same one that the people in Hong Kong are fighting against. So next time you hear from them about any sort of matters of piety, just file them exactly where they deserve to be. Darrin, again, a free piece of advice that they have no interest in following here. When cultures break down, right, There's a drama at the moment about television stations in America when they go wildly out of control. You've got to bring in independent counsel, like fair income independent counsels. You've got to bring in people who are your fiercest critics and tell them to look at it and say, look, to be honest, the whole way you pick the person who is leader is the problem. The whole culture that says, as Caleb Barnett did in the standard ICAC, that I was scared. The whole advice that Sam Dastyari gave, which was cover your ass. This is the problem. Because, look, there are no doubt the extreme, the 99.9% of people in the Labor machine who are there because they believe in Team Red, who want Team Red to be there because they think they're better at running the country. But once it starts to metastasise into the machine is so loyal to the machine that sometimes it thinks any input into the machine must be protected because an attack on the machine is an attack on all of us.
Well, I think that's probably true because it's, in a way, it's patronage that gets you to that position.
Correct.
And people put you there so you owe them something and they'll call in that favour at some point in the future. And that's probably not...
The Chinese communists. That's what they were doing.
Well, and also...
It was the Chinese communists calling in the favour to get Sam Dastyari to stand in front of a lectern and sort of speak in favour of the Chinese communist policy pushing on the South China Sea.
So, look, I think there's obviously a big problem and they need to have a big clean-out. But the other thing, and to be very Father's Day about this, they're kids.
Oh, mate, yes.
I don't consider myself old, but, you know, I'm 1.5 times the age of the last couple of people who've been installed as General Secretary of New South Wales Labor.
Well, this is it. So Caleb Barnett's 32 now.
Yeah, and Dastyari was 28 or thereabouts when he got appointed. I knew bugger all when I was 28, right. And it's ridiculous to expect that people could go and take that role and understand the full extent of everything that's told to them and every bit of information that goes across their desk. So part of it is, you know, you need a bit of a sort of a greybeard strategy as well, that you've got to have some people with real experience take over those jobs.
Yeah, I would be fascinated to see, because, I mean, like, the national presidency of the Labor Party isn't really a forever job. It's something that seems to be sort of for a couple of years voted on by a broader group of people and then it's replaced. I know this is a far more practical job where you are involved in election strategy, all the rest of it, but I tell you what, the way you pick these people is not just a mistake. The people you end up picking is the mistake. As has been pointed out before, in New South Wales, Labor have not won an election since 2007. Nothing state, nothing federal, since 2007.
Could I say very quickly, someone who was National Secretary of the Labor Party, and I won't name them just because I don't have clearance to name them, but they said to me during one of the election campaigns, it's like everyone who's involved in the party, every MP, anyone who's ever been an MP, he said, I'm the chip and there are 1 million seagulls trying to catch me at any one given point in time.
Correct.
That's why they only do it for 2 terms, because I think it would be an incredibly difficult balancing act when you don't really have a lot to give in return.
Oh, and by the way, if anyone wants to try and tell me that Julia Gillard won the 2010 election, she won the negotiations after the 2010 election.